in her own household. She accepts the disrespect not only from her husband, not only for her child, the oldest, the adult in the room, who is her husband's stepson, but her baby, who I guess is turning 16 soon. Now, if people are unfamiliar, she had old accounts that she begged on in the back in the day, and she decided to come back and try to rebrand herself, even though she was begging again, just under a different account name. And at that time, she was begging for, I think it was the car, if I'm not mistaken, that there was no air conditioning and all of that. And it looks like she sits home and gets a check. Her husband gets a check. It's not enough. And at that time, her oldest son wasn't even working, but you were taking him everywhere in that car. She refused to take an Uber, and she was like, why would I take an Uber when I own a car? Because when the car isn't working, you take an Uber, so you go where you have to. You don't make it other people's responsibility to fix your car for you. And so I was having, and y'all know, I do not get disrespectful in anybody's box, because to me that's counterproductive. But we're having a conversation, and her child, the minor child that's about to turn 16, used the N-word towards me. And when I reacted and asked Becky to react, she giggled a little bit because she actually thinks it's funny. See, you can tell when something is happening in somebody's household. There was no, don't say that. That's inappropriate. No, none of that. She actually got a little glee out of it and has been ever since. She doesn't care how it makes her look on TikTok because she doesn't have any self-respect. Because if she did, that child wouldn't speak to her that way. So why should I expect that she would hold any space for the respect of anybody else other than the people she deems worthy? She tries to tell the people she battles with, especially people of color, that she's a good person. Why do you have to say that, my dear? And why are you afraid of people getting in a box with the person you're battling to offer points? But every time I turn around, you're battling a person of color. So at one point, I think it was Jama, but don't quote me on that, asked why she called her grandchildren, which is her husband's grandchildren, colored. She called them colored. That's not bad enough. When someone said, why do you do that? She said, because they're half white, half black. What would I call them? If that's not some of the most racist nonsense I've heard. She says it because it makes her feel better. It makes her feel superior. Because why else? You're being told by people by people who look like her and people who look like me that that's inappropriate. But instead of having any growth, any understanding, any form of care or concern, she doubles down. Becky has never acknowledged or apologized for any of the behavior. And she, in fact, allows it to keep happening. I don't even understand why she battles, but I guess the change she manages to get, she appreciates. But my question is this, or I should say, what I don't understand, is for someone who has lacked any accountability, hasn't acknowledged, hasn't offered an apology, and hasn't improved their behavior whatsoever, how is she still how does she still have supporters? How does she still have people sending her gifts? Saying nothing is an act of complicity. You're an enabler. You're a racist supporter and sympathizer. And you're a racist ally. Because the thought that you know exactly what's been said and done by that family and you continue to support tells me that I need to stay as far away from you as possible because you have no respect. Now I'm going to add my DDS thoughts in this moment because I think that everything fits together in this moment. So first I want to say that I thank everybody who supported me through this past weekend and on Monday. It meant the world to me. But what I wasn't trying to do, imply, suggest that anybody over there was racist. I was trying to get you guys to understand my feelings, how hard it is. And how instead of hesitation and shock, to speak up immediately, even if you're the only person in the room. So for anybody who called Skittles racist, please don't do that ever again. Because that label can ruin someone, especially if it's not true. And what's so interesting is just weeks prior, I went into their room and defended every single one of them against a woman who was calling them racist because their coverage of cake. Most people don't know that.